Blast me to Scythos! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, Issue 35, Lore and Build Guide. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's coverage of the Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Partworks by Hachette. So as I've fallen behind recently again with my subscription, I ordered ahead issues 35, 36, 37 and 38. So I've now caught up to date and I'm waiting on my 11th delivery, which is 39, 40, 41 and 42. So I can't wait to get those, and I'm going to get a good lot of filming done and we can catch up with everyone else. So we'll start, as usual, in order with issue 35. So this one brings us a brand new model for our Adeptus Mechanicus in the form of the Tech Priest Engine Seer. Take a closer look at him in a minute. And in a magazine, so we get our one miniature, we build and paint the Engine Seer, we learn about the Age of Darkness, and we get new faction rules as well, so the Doctrina Imperatives, which are exclusive for the Tech Priest Engine Seer and the Skitarii side of the Adeptus Mechanicus force. So without further ado, let's go vertical and get inside the magazine. So before we dive into the magazine, we'll cover our model, and we've got our 32mm base here. Perfect for our new character. So this is a Tech Priest Engine Seer, a model that can be used by both the Imperial Guard and the Adeptus Mechanicus, as they are scions of the Machine God. I've got one of these guys for my Krieg force. He's going to be the mechanic for my engine pool. I plan on getting quite a few tanks to go with him. Lima Russes, some transport tanks, etc. But I've got a rather nice looking model, loads of detail. You got the Cog Mechanicus there on his chest. We can see underneath his hood he is still human, so we'll be able to paint some nice flesh detail there. But he still has various bits of mechanical lenses and such built into the side of his head. He's got a rebreather in place of his normal mouth, so he's obviously breathing in machine oils and such. Got his lovely backpack with loads of detail, ball joint here for the servo arm. So the good thing is you can put your glue in, move the servo arm around till you get a nice position that you're happy with, and then just let the glue set. He's got his Mechanicum pistol and his Omnissiah axe there. Looks rather nice. The good thing is you can build the model, leave this separate if you want to reach all the detail that the axe would normally block. Although it isn't much, you're just going to miss out accessing the belt, really. There's the other side of the detail. Got some nice detail there on the servo arm. You've got a drill up the top there. And all different pistons and cables. And these bionic legs. Oh, there we go. Rather nice model. Can't wait to paint this guy. Okay, moving on to our magazine then. So issue 35 starts with our battle record for our Tech Priest Engine Seer. We learn about the Forge Worlds, Styges 8 and Briar. We learn about the Age of Darkness. Building and painting our Engine Seer. We got the Doctrine and Imperatives faction sheet for our Adeptus Mechanicus forces. Data sheet for our Tech Priest Engine Seer, coverage of the shooting phase, and the medical aid mission for our scout pack. So, Tech Priest Engine Seers are devoted of the Omnissiah. Engine Seers are tech mystics who specialise in the maintenance of Imperial technology. They can be found serving in almost every department of the Imperium. Those that serve the armies of Adeptus Mechanicus specialise in the repairs and operations of war machines and vehicles. So we've got an overview of his war gear. So he's got his servo arm, servo skull to help him with diagnostics, etc. His Mechanicum pistol, which is a rather esoteric sort of weapon, and uses irradiating ammunition, much like the phosphor blast pistols, etc. of the Skitarii cohorts. And of course he's got his Omnissiah axe. I haven't filled these out yet, but we have got our usual battle record, so I can fill out his name here, his titles, names of his weapons, etc. there. I'll probably give a quick reminder of what I do name him as when I do my battle report, if I don't forget. Moving on to our first bit of new lore, so we got Styges 8, the ever-staring Cyclops. So the Magi of Styges 8 are not well trusted by their peers from other Forge Worlds. Their cohorts have a dark reputation for dubious behaviour relating to the pursuit and acquisition of Xenos technologies, and their activities have drawn the attentions of the Inquisition. I did a commission quite a few years ago which painted up, I think it was Styges 8. They had the red armour and then they had the black robes, which is kind of the reverse of what normally Mars would be. But it's quite a nice fun little commission I actually did back in the day when I was still starting and working on the Dark Vengeance painting. And then we got Grya, the Crown of Miracles. So armies of Grya are amongst the most stubborn and indomitable to fight in the defence of the Imperium. They have a reputation for martial discipline and bravery. So another pretty cool Forge World. Again, uses heavy reds to show their connections to the ancient ways of Mars. But they have a little bit more of a reputation of being stubborn, which is pretty good. And we have the Legio Astraman, one of the Titan Legion dedicated to Grya. A nice green and hazard stripe colour scheme, that's pretty cool. So our next bit of lore then is the Age of Darkness. So this continues our rundown of the events after the coming of the Emperor and up to the Horus Heresy, and even the years after. So the years after the heresy, you got the Scouring, which is the loyal legions hunting down the traitor forces and trying to eradicate them from the galaxy. Of course, it doesn't work. Most of them retreat into the warp. Of course, also during this time, the legions are broken down into chapters. So the Horus Heresy tore the Imperium to, pitting brother against brother, and resulting in the immolation of countless Imperial worlds. Yet for all the devastation wrought during this era, its after-effects were perhaps even more catastrophic, echoing down through the ages, even into the 41st millennium. So we've got the Imperial Reform, basically how the High Lords took over from the Emperor, and how basically factions like the Ecclesiarchy and such were formed. Of course, during this time, Guilliman was still crowned Lord Commander of the Imperium and was still alive. He hadn't yet been put in stasis, so it was basically the Imperium, again, fighting in amongst itself, but trying to reorganize itself into a better, more organized force. And of course, like I said, during this time, Guilliman penned the Codex Astartes and broke the legions down into chapters so that there was never going to be the chance of the heresy on the scale that the original heresy was. Uprisings wouldn't be as... So legions wouldn't be countless, and they would be limited to just 1,000 Marines, so you could never raise a greater force than that, really. Of course, we all know there's some chapters who chose not to follow those. Black Templars and Dark Angels, I'm looking at you. Oh, and Space Wars. Though Dark Angels do say they are following it, but they aren't, really. So then we also have the Long War, which is basically the continuing war against traitors, and the War Master, Abaddon. So what Horus started, Abaddon is going to plan to try and finish. Okay, so our build guide shows us how to build our little tech piece engines here. It's just to do it in 2 sub-assemblies, so leaving his backpack separate, and then just painting his whole body. I would suggest doing 3 sub-assemblies and painting the axe as a separate piece, if you want to, but it's not necessary. So there we have our tech piece. He's just going to go over 2 halves, these little belt accessories. his axe and his backpack. There we go. I won't be painting this guy on camera, so we'll cover the paint guide quickly. So we're going to give him 3 coats of lead belcher. I'll be giving him a coat of lead belcher spray. Then we're picking out the robes in corn red, brass details in reload brass, and the skull in Rakar flesh. We then wash the entire model with Agrax Earthshade. We relayer corn red, pick out Mornfang brown along his belt and on his pouches. Pick out cable and the axe head with Abaddon black, and the axe haft grip with Screamer pink. We can then pick out a few colours, cables and lenses with Macragge blue, the flesh of Corax white, before we apply Nuln oil to those areas we just painted, and Reichen flesh shade, of course, to his skin, and a thinned down version over the Cog Mechanicum symbol there. And there we have our finished model. That's how it looked like, and that's how I'm going to be painting mine. And it also does say, last thing to do, pick out the skull, the eye and the skull with corn red and Agrax Earthshade. But he does look really good and intimidating, and I can't wait to get him on the tabletop. So that's it for this episode. I'll be back in the next episode, 35 part 2, where we will look at how the Doctriner's Imperative work, and we'll also have a brand new mission to play, using all our Mechanicum stuff up to date. So I will see you then. All that's left for me to do is thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe if you don't already do so. I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.